Good afternoon everybody, this is Aniruddha here and I'm going to be talking today about headaches, which I think most of you out there would have experienced headache at some point in your life. I've often been asked this question by most of the people saying, hey, I have a headache today. I don't understand what's the reason of it. I'm so often getting headaches. Somebody will tell me, hey, I get headache only in half the head like this, just half the head. And then somebody came the other day and said, no Anu, I don't just have half, I have headache here and feeling here, the pain is feeling like over here. Somebody will say, hey, I can't be with this headache because it's so much of, I've got so much of sensitivity, I can't even hear the sounds and I can't even see the lights. And some people will tell you, my headache has just lasted for a little while. And some will tell you, hey, my headache just goes on for the next 3 days. And so we have to look at and understand first, what is the headache in your life that's causing the headache in your body? So what's really happening? And let's look, headache means it's in the head. The ache in my head, which may be there for a shorter period of time, for a longer period of time, but often people think that pain has to be just here, but it also radiates on the face. So anything to do with this much part of your body which is like over here, the sinuses, or maybe just half the head, it's throbbing, it's horrible, and I do not know what to do about it. Have you had pain like that? Well, when I was very little girl and a teenager, I would have these headaches so often, just before my periods. So often that every time before my periods, not only were I having cramps in my stomach, but I was also having a headache. What was going on in my space at that time that I was getting a headache? Just before, this would be just absolutely before my period. So I'm talking about like 2 days or 3 days before the onset of my period, I would be having and lying down, I couldn't see anything properly. And this lasted for almost, let me say, for a number of years, and then they just suddenly disappeared. And then the headaches came back in my life. This time the headaches were after my baby was born. We had just moved to New Delhi from Mumbai. I'd never stayed in New Delhi before this, and I had a little baby with me. I was just married for 1 year and I was going into an unfamiliar environment. I was going to be living with people who had never lived before, though they were my husband's family, and we were going to be part of the unit that I was not actively belonging to before in a physical space. Every time I would come down with a headache, I would actually throw up. I would actually not be able to function for the next 3 days. I had to actually lie down, and all my doctor did was give me paracetamol or give me ibuprofen. And I kept eating this ibuprofen, or as we can say, the paracetamol, for the next 13 years. Can you believe that? For 13 years my life was all about carrying ibuprofen in my purse. A little bit of heaviness, that would scare me. I would literally take a glass of water, pop it up and have it, and then I was fine. There were times when I was popping down 3 tablets a day, 5 tablets a day. Well, you know what's interesting? In the next talk I'm going to be telling you how I got over it. But what's really interesting, today where I stand, I don't get headaches. I sorted my stuff out. So what is the stuff that you need to sort out? We'll look at each of the headache in the next talk. And so for right now, if you want to connect to the next talk, do go on my blog anumehta.co.in or on the Help Library blog. Thank you so much for listening.